and welcome once again to It Came From The Radio, the official of the Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres speaking. We're here at the East Meadow Public Library for our 85th live show. And I'm here with none other than Man Jenny Feldy.
Hello, I'm still alive.
And we're going to be here with our special guest who's going to be talking to, with, and about, which is awesome because she's right here. We have author Valentina Janek.
Thank you for having me.
So as I mentioned before, Valentina is going to be talking with her in just a little bit, but before we do that, we have to take it away with the news. The news is brought to you in part by the fine folks at sci-fi.radio. That's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. As well as the fine folks at the Big Apple Con, for which we are the official radio show of, celebrating over 26, 7, 8, 9 years of comic book ness and pop culture stuff. For more information, go to www.bigapplecc.com. The next convention is scheduled for November the 23rd, and that would be, tickets are on sale right now. Also want to give out shout-outs for our Patreons, of which there are Danny Grillo, award-winning director Jared Burrell, Kyle Horn, Millie Portez, music famous Dresden Media, Shadow Rabbit Art, Yasmin Ray, Rosa, and the Hurricane. The Hurricane was also a convention at the East Rockaway, Long Island, also on the 23rd of November, and those are tickets you only have to get in person. And I also want to give a shout out for our special designated shout outs who support my comic book designated. That would be for Kat and Jose Cortez. Also, if you guys want to have your own little shout out, go to our website, www.itcamefromradio.com. Little button on there takes you right to our Patreon page. Also on the It Came From The Radio website is my book, Designated, about two warring alien races fighting over a newly discovered power source. The war finds its way to planet Earth, and as a result, some humans gain abilities. Issue 1 is on sale right now. Issue 2 is in pre-order. All right, so usually we start off with the news, and we have some sad news, as we tend to do. So first bit of sad news is musician and actor Christopher Christopherson, most commonly known as just Chris Christopherson, died recently. No cause has been given. While originally known for his, quote, outlaw country music, unquote, he starred in quite a few movies and TV shows. Most notably, for listeners of our show, he was Abraham Whistler in all 3 Blade movies, and I personally remember him from being in Big Top Pee-wee as Mace Montana in the 80s. Did you a Pee-wee Herman fan, Jen?
No, but Whistler and Blade?
You remember Blade?
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
He was the old white guy that was helping him out, yeah.
Oh my God,
That's
what would you
Chris
do with that
Christopherson.
Whistler? Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
R.I.P.
you're familiar with Chris Christopherson?
Yes, I think he's gorgeous. Well,
He was gorgeous?
And I loved everything he was in.
So he was 88 years old.
And who believes that he's 88 already? I can't
Well,
Yeah,
he
I know.
was 88. Yeah.
I know, but
That's
I
it,
mean,
yeah.
where did it go?
And Blade was out, what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, so,
a while
okay.
ago.
So 68. Okay.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
definitely a hot actor.
Yeah, he was like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. I
So
see.
moving on for more sad news, actor Donald Drake Hodgson also died recently from pancreatic cancer. Donald was perhaps best known for his role of John Black from 1986 until this year, with a brief hiatus from 2009 to 2011 on the daytime soap Days of Our Lives. Were you a big fan?
I watched Days of Our Lives.
So you're familiar with John Black?
John Black was a priest, he was a killer, he was all these different things and different personalities. And John Black was really a big part of the show for years and years and years. And quite handsome as well.
So he was 70 years old. He
Yeah.
just passed away also. All right, so I think this is, so the last bit of sad news, actor Kenneth Page also died recently in his sleep. Kenneth perhaps best known for voicing Oogie Boogie in the Nightmare Before Christmas movie, as well as appearances of the character in other media such as video games and theme park rides. Are you familiar with Nightmare Before Christmas?
No, I know the story, but
So
I don't know him.
So he was the main bad guy in Nightmare Before Christmas. Did you see Nightmare Before Christmas?
No.
That's fine. It's
Sorry.
fine. But he was Oogie Boogie. He was if you love that movie, he was the main bad guy in that, and he was 70 as well. And let's see. So we have one follow-up sad news, which is kind of weird because actor John Allen Amos Jr., known professionally as just John Amos, died a while ago from congestive heart failure. Despite dying in August, the news of his death wasn't reported until recently, for reasons, depending on who you ask, vary wildly. While appearing in numerous films and TV shows, John was perhaps best known for appearing in Die Hard Part 2 as the main bad guy, spoilers, Coming to America and its sequel, the TV series Roots, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Hunter, The West Wing, The District, and of course, he was the father on Good Times. I remember watching Good Times as a kid, and I did not know at the time, because I was still learning how TV worked, because at a very young age I knew it was actors and makeup. I knew it was always fake, but for some reason I actually thought that the actor had died, and that's why the character had died on Good Times. But apparently there was a contractual dispute, and so he left the show, and so they killed him off. So that was way back when I was a little stupid kid, and now I know better. He was 84 years old. Are you familiar with John Amos? Good
I know,
Times?
yes, I am, but I didn't watch it a lot.
Ah, all right. You know Good Times? Never watched Die Hard 2?
I don't believe in good times. I believe in bad times.
You never saw J.J.
No.
Walker Dynamite? And you look at Die
Honestly,
Hard.
I
You never
did.
saw Die Hard?
I saw
The
one,
second Die Hard.
I saw one
With the planes.
in like 2008 or something like. Yeah.
Oh, well, wait.
A
that
long
was,
time ago.
I think
There
that was
was-
like the fourth one.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
later
yeah.
one that had a lot of hype.
Wasn't that?
Mhm.
Wasn't that? That was the one where he jumped down. There was like a helicopter coming down. They jumped like through 2 floors with his son.
You know
No,
what?
not
I'm
even?
turning into my dad. He watches full movies, and he forgets the entire movie.
That's fine. That's fine.
And people are starting to think I'm lying, watching their movies, and I'm not. But it's just my dad. It's a phenomenon.
It runs in the family.
Yeah, and I used to think, what's wrong with this guy?
Well, that's
I
fair enough.
watched the whole movie with him. He doesn't know.
So that's it for the sad news. We're going to move on to the not as sad news. From the That's a Lot of Nuts department. The new Joker sequel has taken the #1 spot in the domestic box office, pulling in a quote-unquote disappointing $37.6 million in ticket sales in its first week release, beating out the new animated film The Wild Robot, which came in at #2 spot, making an additional $18.8 million in its second week release. For those of you keeping track, Inside Out 2 is still the highest grossing film of this year so far, running out of the year, with $652.9 million, followed by Deadpool Part 3 with $633.8 million. What's interesting to note is that in regards to Joker, they say it was a huge box office bomb because it cost $200 million to make this film. The first movie cost like $60 million and it made $1 bazillion, and this one is considered being a flop. So the experts for box office analysis says, quote, "This is a Speed 2 level of disaster with Warner Brothers, massively overspending on a sequel, only to see its audience all but abandon the film domestically. Warner Brothers has the biggest hit of the fall season in Beetlejuice 2, and now likely the largest flop too in Joker Part 2. Such is the way of the sequel. Truth is, the creators of Joker 2 went in a direction that the majority of audiences didn't want to follow. Ultimately, choices were made, and unfortunately, they didn't align with moviegoers' taste." Did you see the first Joker?
I didn't.
You didn't see the first
I want
Joker.
to. I did not. I heard about the second one.
What did you hear about the
Filled it.
second one?
Bad ratings. It was a flop. I see comments online. There's a few people online that commented they like it. A lot of them said they hate it. But it's a musical, and it seems like a lot of people have the same comments for almost every musical.
Right, and that's the thing.
They get lost.
So Valentina, you familiar with Joker and
Yes,
Joker 2? Did you
yes.
see the first Joker?
Yes, but the
Okay.
second one I didn't.
But did you like the first Joker?
Yeah, it was, okay. I'm not wanting to, I wasn't into it too much.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So I saw the first Joker. I didn't like it.
Okay.
I was in the minority that didn't like it for various reasons. And the second one, as you mentioned, is a musical.
Right.
So right there, it's not promoted as a musical. So if you go into a musical, not knowing it's a musical, that's bad.
You think it's possible some people went into this not knowing?
Correct.
Okay.
And-
That's like Mean Girls.
Exactly.
They put Mean Girls on, they started
It wa-
singing,
it was-
I changed the channel.
Exactly. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
they didn't market it. It wasn't marketed correctly. It's
Right.
kind of like a bait and switch.
Right.
And so when word got out that it's a musical, people were
Yeah.
upset because they didn't. The first one wasn't a musical. So why in the world would you take a successful formula and change it to something that's not what the people want, a musical? Now what's interesting is that I remember when I was a kid, a teenager I would say, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out. And the thing about that movie was all in Chinese. It was subtitled. And so when I'm in the theater, and it wasn't promoted as a subtitled movie,
It wasn't.
and I went to the theater, and they're all speaking a different language, and it was a gasp of silence in the audience when the realization came over them that they're not going to be speaking English in this entire movie. It was a very weird feeling that you're being cheated. Fortunately, the movie was really good and engaging,
Okay.
and it was set up in such a way that the action, you didn't have to,
Oh, okay.
you were able to enjoy the action, read the discussion. Enjoy the action, read the discussion. So it didn't take away from the enjoyment of the film. So I think you're going to a movie, you don't know it's a musical, you're not expecting it, and so you have that disconnect from from what you're seeing.
Right.
So this audience,
You believe you
people are
hate,
going to be
you walk out
upset.
hating the people.
It's just one of those things that if it's not a good movie, it can get past the fact that it's a musical. Like, you see a really good musical, wow, this movie was great, it's a musical, I love the music, I love the acting, it's fine. But if you get into a situation where you're getting sidewinded, and then it's not a good product, that's doubly negative. I was talking to a guy the other day.
There's a lot of money put into this.
$200 million
Yeah.
to make this movie,
Right.
and it's a $200 million flop because it only made $37 million so far.
So far.
I mean, this had happened with Avatar.
Right.
That the movie was cost a lot of money to make. It was CG. It was a very big deal about this movie. That first weekend, it didn't make its money. But that was because there was a snowstorm on the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
And they were blaming it, oh, the movie's no good, this and that, what have you. But then the following week, it made tons of money, so everybody was happy. So,
I don't know if that'll happen with
it's not getting the word of mouth that it was
Yeah.
a good movie. I've only seen about 15 minutes of it so far. I'm like,
Okay.
But like I said, I'm not the audience because I didn't like the first one.
Right.
And I know it's a musical, so I might actually wind up liking this one more because I know.
Well, it's the bait and switch problem. You
Right.
know, it's like you think you're going to the dentist and the guy tells you to pull your pants down. You said, what the hell's going on? And he says, I'm a proctologist. You got the wrong ends, you know?
Well,
it's kind of like that.
Right. It's like when you go to the hospital, you're having surgery, and they put the right thing on the right leg when you're getting the left leg. Then you have a nice lawsuit.
That's
They
true.
make a lot of money.
That's Joker
Exactly.
too. That's
The guy
Joker
just did
too.
that
So-
in Florida, but he took out the guy's kidney and he died. And he took his license right away. Yeah, because they were even saying, "Hey, you did it wrong," and he tried covering up with the gallbladder or something. He really should have
Oh,
gallbladder
goodness.
and stuff. And they took the guy's license. You're a threat to the society. I'm sorry.
So moving on, from the Ever Insert Clip Here department, none other than ABJ, a large anti-piracy group from Japan titled Authorized Books of Japan, has released its findings on its manga pirated research. They say the amount of free reading per month in the top 10 English translation piracy sites alone amounts to $800 million, a figure that is increasingly every year and requires immediate action. To put things into perspective, that number was just for 1 month, which is the way, which was May of this year, and comes from 1,332 sites that they found. The manga industry saw a 25% decrease in online piracy between 2022 and 2023, and piracy platforms are most often posted in English, with other languages like Spanish, Russian, and Chinese following close behind. So piracy has always been a thing. You make something and then people charge for it, and then some people feel entitled, or they feel that the price is too high, and they'll go on to pirate sites, which is the whole streaming service about sharing passwords. That's quote unquote stealing something. And if you, as I said, I worked in a movie theater,
You
the
would
movie's
never-
going to be playing regardless. So
Right.
if you sneak into a movie that's already been playing, you're not really stealing anything, but it counts as being stealing. So
Right.
the fact that manga, which is a very popular form of entertainment for the Japan market, and apparently for the U.S. market as well, it's costing, quote unquote, costing $800 million.
And
Now,
piracy?
what do you think about piracy in general? And if somebody were to pirate your book, how would you feel about that?
Not happy. Not happy at all.
Do you think that you prefer someone to read your book or to buy your book?
For me, either one. Because when you read my book, it's going to help you. And when you buy my book, you may read it and then hand it over to someone else. And on my 2 books, both books are very positive.
But that's what I'm saying. So if someone pirated your book and they're reading it, you're happy that they're reading it,
Yeah.
and they probably wouldn't have bought it to begin with.
Right. Well, that's very true.
So
That's very true.
do you think that if your book was pirated, would you like take it off, or would you be like, if they want to read it, and if you like it,
Well,
buy
since
it?
the expense was already done to make the book, as long as
If
they
it's
don't
a good-
rewrite it, you know,
Right.
and
what's-
cover it,
What's-
recover it.
And what's also interesting
Seal
to
it,
think about
right.
it is that there are some there is a percentage of people who would see something on a pirated site,
Yeah.
like, wow, this is so good,
Yeah.
I will go buy it. I will go
Right.
encourage it.
Mhm.
I mean, I know some people who watch certain things on piracy sites, and I'm like, wow, this is so good, I will buy a DVD to keep it. I will go to the movies to go see it.
Right.
I remember when I was, this is like the late 90s, I was going to school at the New York Institute of Comic Book Arts and Fantasy Illustration, and this guy in the class that I was taking had a bootleg copy of RoboCop 3, and he brought the movie in. He played it for us while we were in class, and it was a pirated movie. The movie had not come out yet, but I saw the whole movie and I enjoyed it. And when it came out, I bought myself a ticket because I saw it and I was like, oh,
Right.
this is good. I want to support the people. So it's a very gray area when it
It
comes
is.
to
It's
piracy.
just like some people, when the teacher will tell the students read the book, they'd rather see the movie
Right.
and say they read the book because it's easier to answer questions and then you don't have to read it. You know? And
Yeah.
watching a movie is for kids is better than reading a book.
Usually, yeah.
I mean, that's.
I think after I'm dead, I wouldn't care if people pirated my book because I'm not gonna get. I don't need any money to keep me alive or anything
Okay.
like that. You know?
Well, what about your movies?
Nah, I think I don't care then. I think it's after I'm dead.
After you're dead. So if
Yeah.
somebody pirated your movie now, you'd be upset.
Yeah, I
if
think I'd rather
somebody,
people do it the right way while I'm alive.
What was it?
And make sure the people that are still alive are getting whatever they deserve. But after I'm dead, who cares?
Terror and the Tiger Babies.
There you go. Yeah,
Right,
after
so-
I'm dead, who cares?
So if I just happened to pirate that movie and see it on the side, you'd be mad at me for not paying for it, even though I probably wouldn't have paid for it?
You know what? I wouldn't care. I wouldn't
Okay.
care. No, I
Alright.
wouldn't care.
Alright.
I used to work in the
Yeah.
movies when they had the big reels.
But I
So
like
how
big
they ain't really pirating, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
that's
I mean,
true.
that's it. The guy put the big wheels on. I used to have to go on the ladder and change the sign with the name right here in East Meadow.
Oh,
Change
really?
it every Thursday. Yeah, I mean, it was the old movie theater, and after that, it was the Westbury Drive.
So moving on,
What's that?
from the Give Me More of That Please department. None other than Amazon Prime has announced a spin-off series starring one of the characters from their Reacher series based on the books of the same character. The Untitled Neely Project focuses on Maria Steen's character, Frances Neely, a private investigator in Jack Reacher's circle, when she learns that a beloved friend from her past has been killed in a suspicious accident. She becomes hell-bent on justice, using, quote, everything she has learned from Jack Reacher and her time as a member of the 110 Special Investigators Unit. Neely puts herself on a dangerous path uncovering menacing evil. Maria says, the actress, I love Neely. She's so fun to play. She's so quirky and so much complexity. I love doing character work. That's how I was trained. I read from all the books that she was in. I got into what I felt was her psyche. So for me, I had it all there, and I'm just thrilled to expand upon it further. It's still Reacher. It's still fun. Splashy action, quick dialogue. It has its own something that's Neely, not Reacher. It's in the same fun tone, and the writers make it of their own. So, as you don't know, people, the book series was based off of the Reacher series by Lee Child, which was turned into 2 movies starring Tom Cruise, and they have a TV series that was also Reacher on Amazon Prime. Did you see the Tom Cruise movie? That look says no. Did you see
No,
the
I
Tom
didn't
Cruise
either.
Reacher?
I love Tom Cruise, but I didn't see him.
So
I look straight, but he's not at my line of vision because he's a little
He's a
lower,
short guy.
so I gotta change my view.
So
I haven't really seen anything with him as long as I don't look down enough.
So the Reacher books, the series, which is interesting, is that the description of the main character says that he's supposed to be like 6'5" and built like a brick.
Yeah.
And then they got Tom Cruise
Yeah.
to be in the movie, so the true fans of the book are like, hey, that's nothing
It's
like
racist.
what it's nothing like what the character's supposed to be. So when they made the TV series, they made this really big guy, and he like fits the role.
Right.
However, the author who I guess approved it, or at least he got paid for that, he justified Tom Cruise being there, saying that it was a metaphysical description as opposed to what he actually looked like. But now that they have this guy who's the real big deal, it's like, yeah, this is what I envisioned when he made the book. The TV show is really good. I like the first season. I like the second season. The second season was not as well received as the first season, but it was still an enjoyable thing. You're a Reacher fan? Have you seen Reacher? Have you heard of Reacher at all?
Yes.
You've heard?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't watch it much. I just don't.
That's fair.
I can't say anything either way.
That's
I
fine.
don't know enough about it yet.
Maybe
That is fine.
Scientology helped him get the role. They said he is big in spirit.
Big in spirit,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe Scientology could vouch for Tom Cruise, and that's why he got it.
So we have the
Maybe.
last bit of news from the "We're a business, why wouldn't we charge more for less" department. Earlier this year, there was a class action lawsuit against Amazon Prime, accusing the company of false advertising and deceptive practices over the change of Prime Video to not only add ads to their already existing streaming service, but also making an ad-free version for $3 more.
Oh.
Amazon is seeking to dismiss the class action lawsuit filed over its additions by ads by default. In October 4th filing, the Commerce pointed to terms and conditions which say, for years, people purchased and renewed their Amazon Prime subscriptions, believing that they would include ad-free streaming. But last month, Amazon changed the deal. To stream movies, TV shows without ads, Amazon customers must now pay an additional $2.99 per month. This is not fair. Because these subscribers already paid for ad-free versions, these subscribers should not have to pay an additional $3 for something that was already paid for. Amazon has filed for dismissal of all charges and responded with, Amazon has always disclosed that the bundle of Prime benefits is subject to change. In other words, Amazon never guaranteed that any particular Prime benefit will remain available indefinitely. They expressly stated the opposite. One of Prime's benefits is access to Prime Video, a world-class streaming service with a massive library of movies, shows, and other digital content, including award-winning originals and exclusive content. Prime Video has long limited advertisers during live sport events and other content, and Amazon never promised to Prime members or anyone else that Prime would always or entirely be ad-free. But because Amazon understood that some people prefer not to see ads, Amazon offered an option for Prime Video users to watch ad-free content at an additional cost. So, they give something for free, and then they take it away, and they add ads, and you think that's how the whole TV service, the big circle is. If you remember, the draw of cable was that there were no ads. That was the original
Cable?
benefit
Sure.
of having no cable. Back when they had the regular network television shows, ABC, CBS, NBC, then they had Channel 13, PBS, whatever.
Cable had no ads?
Originally, cable had no ads. That was, you
Wow.
paid extra to get cable in addition to your TV stuff. Exactly.
And then you plugged
And
into
so
your neighbor's box
you
for
got
free.
you got the service, you paid for cable, you got all the channels, and then someone said, we want to make more money,
Right.
so we're going to start putting commercials onto
I see,
cable.
I see.
And then it became a normal thing. You're still paying your same price,
Right.
sometimes more, and they put commercials on cable. And then streaming came along,
Right.
and then streaming was free.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like, hey, we want more money,
Right, right.
so we're going to start putting ads on it.
Right.
And except for Netflix, I believe they haven't done it
Right,
yet.
correct.
But they're talking about
Oh,
it
really?
to make an ad version and a non-ad version, ad-free
Oh,
version.
interesting.
But right now they're cracking down the passwords. So once they
Yeah.
get the passwords down, then they're going to start taking it to the
And
next
they
level.
lost a lot of
They lost a
subscribers.
lot of
Trump
subscribers.
people, I think.
They lost a lot of subscribers, which is weird because they don't mention it,
You got
except when
millions
it
or
actually
millions?
happened.
Mhm.
Was that when the war with the Ukraine and Russia happened,
Mhm.
and a lot of companies were like, well, we're not going to support Russia,
Right.
so we're going to ban our services
Right.
from Russia. They lost a couple
Right.
of hundred of million
They did
subscribers
that.
from Russia, but they didn't mention that where
Yeah.
the loss came from. They only mentioned that they had a loss
Yeah.
of subscribers, and also it was a reverse aspect of the pandemic because the pandemic happened. The subscriber numbers shot up through the
Yeah.
roof because everybody was watching stuff. When they went back to work, the subscriber numbers shot down,
True.
and they weren't expecting that either. So it's two things that they didn't expect, which is mind-boggling to
I
me.
think it's Netflix. It's someone in charge said they were going to give money to Trump, to Kamala. Sorry, to the Kamala.
Okay.
I'm pretty
It's-
sure it's
it's
Netflix.
possible.
I'm pretty sure Netflix is
I
endorsing
haven't-
Kamala officially as of this week.
Oh, okay.
And
well,
I'm
I-
pretty sure they lost millions of
But it's-
subscribers.
But it's crazy how, like, they would decide to do something that would lose subscribers and then charge ads. But like I said, Netflix hasn't done that yet, but
Not yet.
all the other services are doing ad tiers. And just like cable, it became a bundle. They started doing bundles to try and make you, get certain channels with certain bundles. And now they have streaming services with certain bundles.
Yeah.
So it's all big mess of what's happening
Yeah.
all over again. So Valentina, you were around when it was just you had to pay for cable and it was no ads, right?
We
and
were
then-
around when beta existed.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
So
We
what are
probably
your,
remember verbatim.
so what are your thoughts on the fact that it's happening all over again? First with cable, now with streaming service.
Everything happens for a reason, and everything comes full circle, and what worked years ago works again from years ago, and they keep going back to figure out what worked and how they made more money, and they're doing things again.
So what do you think is going to happen now with or you think they're just going to have ads as just a regular thing for streaming services?
Probably, but I don't know for sure. I mean, I can't predict that. But as far as Amazon, my book is not on Amazon anymore because what they did was they stopped publishers from putting their authors' books on certain items because they didn't sell enough. And then the book publisher, who's mine, had to send gifts to everyone and say, "I'm sorry, we're switching your book." Yeah, all kinds of things that
Switching
people
your
don't
Well,
know.
he came into the books years ago.
No, now my book is on No Kobo, Barnes & Noble, but it's not on Amazon anymore because I didn't sell enough that first 6 months.
To make their quota.
And that was a real problem for publishers.
Which is, that's the other thing, is that they have that initial big draw. Like everything has to be right now, the first draw, as opposed to back in the old days where something can be on there for a while and it builds up over time. Now it's that first weekend, those first times, but that's just how it is.
And every author is now the first week of their book.
Right.
Their book goes for 99 cents for one day. And that brings the numbers
That
up.
brings the numbers up.
I mean, it's all part of the game.
Right.
It's such a game now.
And you have to learn how to do it.
You gotta play the game.
But
So-
I mean, the numbers are not that important to certain people. They are to other people.
Can't people just take their time and read a book or watch
Exactly.
a movie
Well, life
in
is
3
short.
years, and then the author and the show people can get credit and get celebrated? If I watch a movie 3 years later, like, why do I have to do it the first week?
It's just the way
It's
the marketing cycle goes right now. And
it is part of the marketing cycle, and it's a badge.
Yeah.
Like we made this much money, we have these many pre-sales.
Right.
That's the thing
Yeah.
now, because if it made so much or so many
first
people there, then it must be a thing, as
Right.
opposed to what the term is called is a cult classic.
Right.
There's some movies out there that did terrible at the box office, and people love them now that have seen them afterwards.
Goals.
But of course, there was a director who was interviewed about that. He made a cult movie, years ago,
Keith Crocker.
and he's like, "Where were all those people when the movie came out?"
Right.
So like they should have supported back then,
Like
because
Bloody.
they don't get that money if it's a cult following. They don't get that money if people see it. If it's
Unless they
Unless.
own the movie, like my book,
That's-
the book I wrote, which people say, why did you publish it? I don't think I'll ever publish it. I think I'm gonna always print it on my own computer. If you want it, you come to me,
Right.
and then you buy it for me.
right.
And I have a feeling I might do that with whatever films I make too, where it's like, whatever, you know what? I'll be 90, so a couple years from now, 40, 50 years from now, you want a copy? Come to me, and I'm planning to stay old school, bring it back even older school.
So that's it for the news. We're going to take a quick break and we'll go right back with more. It came from the radio.
Phew, so glad we took a break.
Hey everybody, this is Todd McFarlane of the record-setting Spawn comic series, and if you're looking for any kind of cool conversation about creators, about entertainment, about all that good stuff, you go to It Came From The Radio. You're listening to the right spot.
This is Quentin Flynn, a popular voice actor known for Axel, Tamon, and Raiden from the Metal Gear series. And you're listening to It Came From The Radio. Stick around.
Hey, I'm Mike Kingston, the writer and creator of Headlocked.
And I am WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler, and guess what you're listening to? You're listening to It Came From The Radio!
Hi, this is Amy Jo Johnson, writer-director from the film The Space Between, and you're listening to It Came From The Radio.
Meet Grimlock having fun on It Came From The Radio! Meet Greg Berger also.
Now, back to our show.
And welcome back to It Came From the Radio, the official of the Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres, speaking at the East Meadow Public Library for our 85th live show. I'm here with Man Jenny Feldy.
Hello.
And we're here with Author as our special guest, Miss Valentina Janek.
Hello, thank you.
So, Valentina, you've been around the business for 100 years. I've been around the
Really
business for
around.
100 years.
Mhm.
And I've never met you before, but you've been around.
I have.
So tell us what I've been missing out on.
You're
Well,
just in slightly different sectors.
I was in corporate America for
Ah.
30 years. I worked in publishing for the biggest tech industry weekly paper and I call it the Big Book. It was a big magazine, and it was in the technology area. My boss dumped on Bill Gates' toilet, so that's how hard I worked.
Wow.
Did you get to enjoy Bill Gates' toilet as well?
No, I didn't, because when you go there, you need to be blindfolded
Really?
to get to his house
Really?
when you're a reporter. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's very
And
interesting.
so that was part of my, many years in the corporate environment. And we did trade shows, and I used to do events all over the States, like the #1 technology person, the top 25 industry executives in tech. And of course, it was always Bill Gates or, one of these guys. And it was a lot of fun, and I started in the company as a little editorial aide and went all the way up, and I had a great job, and it was a company that was for women, and also if you had children, they had to take care. So you got to have your kids eat with you breakfast and lunch, because they had
Really?
a cafeteria. It was called CMP. It was a great company, and I learned so much, and unfortunately after 16 years, they sold the company, and the new people got rid of all the oldsters.
What got you into that initially?
I got the job. I tried to get in there for 3 years,
Okay.
and eventually got it because I went to my chiropractor, and he brought my resume in. So I used to say I could do my wallpaper with you did not get the job until I met my chiropractor, who got me in by a phone call. And that's life.
He made some
gotta know
adjustments.
somebody in order to get in the door.
Right.
So I
Right.
lost the job, and I couldn't get a job.
Right.
I was too smart, too old, and made too much money. So I started to go to interviews, and I was getting interviewed by a conference room of 7 people. So 7 people can't make a decision on one job.
Right.
No way. And then I go out, and then I see this lady, and then I go to another interview tomorrow, and she was there. And then I see another guy, and we used to see each other. We were all high executive type jobs. So we decided to have breakfast one day. And then we decided to do another day. And that's how the Long Island Breakfast Club started.
That was one of my questions. Why breakfast? Why not lunch? Why not snack? Why breakfast at all? Why a meal?
Why? Because breakfast is the cheapest meal of the day.
Oh,
We were out of work.
right.
Okay? And so we used to meet twice a month in the middle of Nassau and Suffolk County in a diner. And that's how we did it for like a lot of years. I used to connect people to jobs. We used to get people jobs. But when you're over 50, you can't get a job that easy. Now, 20 years later, 18 years later, I'm way over 50. And, we started to do things like, easy things. You need a temp, you need this.
Right.
And we volunteered. And that's how their resumes got built up. I used to do their resumes. And they weren't out of work. They were always working. Until the Sweet Hollow Diner on 110 decided to get mad at us one day because we didn't spend enough money. The gentleman that owned the diner is underneath the ground. He's no longer there. It's very nice right now. I just went the other day. I said, "Is that the man?" And she said, "Yeah. He's on the wall still." He made us famous because he threw us out of the diner. We laughed our heads off. Very professional women, one man, called Newsday, and Patricia Kitchen put us on the map. In the parking lot, she said, "Who are you?" And I said, "We're the kids, like the Breakfast Club movie. Only we're adults, and we're over 50, and we got thrown out of the diner." And that's how the Breakfast Club started 18 years ago.
Okay. I was always interested.
It's a stump story.
Every time I've come to your show or been on your show, why breakfast? What's the story?
So we used to meet, we used to volunteer, we used to be marketing consultants for people, wear badges that say, "Ask us about the Breakfast Club." And our vendor, whoever we were promoting, we were doing him.
Right.
And 17 of us would walk into an event, and it's like, "Who the hell are you people?" And that's how we got popular, believe it or not. Just so we're coordinating, having fun, and going out and having a drink and talking. So from that, I started to help all these people that were out of work, that were 50, and they were depressed, and we used to help each other.
Right.
Until I came up with this plan to do something different, have a show. So I started as a comedian a little, and I worked at Governor's, and it wasn't a show for business, but I stayed, and from that, I started the Long Island Breakfast Club show, and from that, my book called From Fire to Freedom. All the people that I helped are in my book. So there are 85 people in my book who went from the bottom up, change their life, change what they did for a living. You don't have to do what you used to, and do it for nothing for a month, and you get a job. Volunteering is the best way to enhance your life, your soul, your business. And From Fire to Freedom happened. It's my baby. I call it the big book because it's big. And even the story, the story's true. It's a lot about me, but even the story about the prostitute in here is true. And she now doesn't live on the street, and she's no longer a prostitute. And we're very proud of what we did for a lot of people. And so my book is great. Red Penguin published the book. She's my mentor. And now, I publish books with her. I get her clients, and we work together. And from the book, I'm now in the New York Film Festival, and I'm in 5 films.
Yep.
And now I'm going to be in a sitcom called The Fontanas.
Right.
And I'm playing the Italian mother of 4 very bad sons. And I'm having a ball. And the film festival is coming up next week, October 16th to the 20th. It's called the New York Long Island Film Festival. It's 5 days of fun in Lindenhurst. We take over the town. And you'll see, one day is horror films, one day is, good, pretty films, one day is charities, one day is about people that passed, that people made films about their mothers, their sisters. And I'm in 5 films now. So this now is going to be a sitcom. We did our first series of 7 shows, and we're in the second series, and it's similar to The Sopranos, and we have a few of The Sopranos people in it now. And that's how From Fire to Freedom happened, but it just didn't happen overnight.
Right.
When I was out of work, and I was frustrated, I became sick for a while, and I didn't want to get out of bed, and it's just about how you can do anything if you put it up here. And up in your brain, and how helping those other people is what helped me. And I met some fantastic people. There's a story about Gary Melius, who is the owner of the Ohika Castle, how I met him. Because I couldn't get a job, so I'd just walk into places with Italian bread. And I'd meet the owner, and I'd give him a tub of Italian bread. And we'd sit down, and can we break it? And we'd break bread. And that's how I met Gary Melius. His story's in there. And now he's a very good friend, and he helps with charity work and stuff like that.
Very cool.
And you have to meet a president if you're very smart, if you're intelligent, and you make good money. And if you don't, you're not getting that job. And if you want to go to corporate to get a job, you're going to meet with 23-year-old people that look at you, throw your resume right out.
Wow.
There's a section in the book called, do you want to be a cookie cutter? Or colorful? And that's about when you go interview at a pharmaceutical company. We used to go together, so we saw what happened. If you were red dot, they give you dots. When you go into a pharmaceutical, it's a big thing. It's a great job to get a pharmaceutical job. They give you a red dot if you're 50. They give you a white dot if you're young. They give you a blue dot if you're horrible. And then the real cookie cutters in the navy blue suits, they're the ones that get the break. And those are the ones that go past the interviewer. I mean, there's so many stories, and they're all true.
Cookie cutter means just like a suit,
Yeah,
So that's what they want.
Yeah, cookie cutter. Oh, pharmaceutical. Man.
I turned down the job.
And pharmaceutical jobs are great. You come with benefits.
Depends what you want.
You're a
Yeah.
drug dealer. I used to say to my
Exactly.
officer, here comes the drug dealers.
That's why I turned down the
You know,
job.
they're
Yeah.
drug
So there's a
dealers.
lot
Pay
of
'em
very
150
funny
grand a
stories, some
year.
are true. There's a few sad ones. Because when you lose your job, and you've been there a long time, it's hard on your marriage,
Yeah.
it's hard on your pocketbook, it's hard on you, and you lose your identity.
Yeah.
So I found a way to find a new identity, and I never thought I'd write 2 books because I worked in editorial and I never got to write anything. Because back then, I was in the newsroom, but guess what? Whenever I raised my hand, I was a woman. And I wasn't going to get that story. And that's how it was. I mean, I remember once traveling to Boston with my boards for a whole story for the paper, and just showed up. And my boss was like, what are you doing here? Because he was in Boston and he traveled a lot. And I go, look what I did. He said, advertisers are not going to write about administrative people. And it was called The Grease Behind the Wheel. So I had a lot of great ideas, but I could never get past that editorial thing to be called the editor. So then I was just marketing events, everything, and then I finally did do very well there. So every time I lost a job, I wrote a book. Now, prior to this book, I wrote a book when I lost the corporate job. So the corporate job was one, and then I worked for Nassau County for a little while until there were some changes in administration. And everybody knows what they were. They're not that old, and unfortunately, due to problems in the town, some people walked out, went away, whatever you want to call it. And that's when I wrote this book, which is called In Love and Friendship.
When did this come out?
It's a while ago.
Oh, okay.
But this is about me, my best friend, we've been friends since we're 4, and this little girl we met, her grandmother, because when you're out of work, you go to the bar at lunch, and you have a liquid lunch. And we used to go to the same bar, some of the people from the club, you know. And this little girl's grandmother was crying at the bar. And we had a drink, so we were all kind of hot, and we said, well, she showed us a picture. And well, she told us that the little girl almost damaged, she wasn't gonna live, because she was almost drowned. And she lost all her breathing. And she didn't have enough money to get hyperbaric treatments, which now are covered, but they weren't then. So we said, let's go meet her.
Right.
We were all a little, having a liquid lunch. Well, we went. We saw this kid, and we were involved with this kid for 2 years. She became part of our life.
Wow.
We had some fundraisers. We met with a wonderful man out in Suffolk County who helped us. We had a garage sale, and it got so overwhelming that the fire department almost threw us out of Center Reach, because she lived in Center Reach. And as everybody was dumping their stuff in our backyards, including Playboy magazines,
Oh my God.
our husbands and our children are like, what the hell are you guys doing? And that's the story, is called In Love and Friendship. The little girl is now 20, still alive, but still has difficulty. But hyperbaric oxygen is now available for lots of things. Diabetes, cuts, breathing problems, any kind of thing. It's all about cure. If you have hearing problems, do I believe that? No, I don't. But every hospital has it, and some doctors have it as well. And that's how, and this is about friends too, my best friends. So for me, people and places and things, it's my livelihood. And I have an identity now. Would I ever go back to corporate? No, not now. Is it less money? Yes. Would I go back to the county or the town? Yes, as a part-time basis. Because I have my own voice now. You don't have your own voice when you're in corporate or you're in politics. And in the end, after I left, I was approached by the Democrats to run for office. And I said to them, who's going to pay for it? Well, you have to do a campaign.
Right.
I said, I just lost a job.
Right.
You want me to switch? And I said no. And ever since then, I've lost my husband, I lost my home, and I now have a very good life. And I learned, because I worked with the county, positive things that everyone that's 62 on Long Island are not entitled to. And I teach some people how to get them. For example, if you're 62 and you don't have a big income, you can buy a co-op for $200,000 right here in the town of Hempstead. And your maintenance is $350 a month. And how many people do you think on Long Island know that?
They don't.
I'm
they
gonna have to
don't
ask
people
around.
know that, yeah.
I'm gonna have to post this
I'm
and ask
64. Give me
around.
And so I teach that. And I made a little business out of it. I mean, not a lot, but I help people. And how do you get it? Because you have to stand up.
Right.
And if you don't stand, you're not going to know. So that's how I'm getting my stuff back to me. I have a beautiful co-op. Did I know? No.
Wow.
My husband passed away. The benefits went away. There's so many seniors out there that don't know what they're entitled to. They can get free food every week at a vegetable farm right here in Nassau County, and just show their card. If they go to the senior citizen, meetings in their town, they'll get the card. They just go shopping for $25 every 2 months.
So where are these meetings?
And senior citizen centers. So like if you live in Elmont, you go to that center meeting.
Okay, got
With
it.
your age and all
Gotcha,
that.
gotcha,
There's so much other things. If I'm now a member of the AARP volunteer program, all I have to do is go and put the table up for AARP,
Right.
and I get to see the play for free. These are so many things that seniors don't know.
Right.
And it's sad because no one tells them.
But
So,
you are.
Yeah, I do, but I mean, you know, everyone says I'm like a billboard.
Yeah.
I'm a walking billboard.
They
but
should
I'm-
have a YouTube channel for the old people.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting at home just
I
telling
was
them, right,
supposed to be
saying the
helping
same
the
thing right there.
citizens over there.
A
But again,
podcast.
things happen.
You need it, we got it, let's talk.
Yeah, things happen. And unfortunately, life is not fair. Am I happy? Yes. Happiest I've ever been. I have a relationship with someone. I met a very nice gentleman. And guess where we met?
The
One
Breakfast
guess.
Club. The Breakfast Club.
You met at the,
The diner. Okay?
it's all about the food. It's all about the food.
He was just here.
Yeah.
It's all
But
about the food.
again, it's about, you know, even people that want to meet a male just for a companion, don't go on the internet.
Right.
Don't go to these crazy chop houses where
Right.
all they want is, you
Right.
know what?
Right. Right.
Go where there are decent people. And if you're single, sit at the counter. Because the men that are single are at the counter because they don't cook. So these are the kind of coaching
Yeah,
things that I
yeah,
do.
sure.
And it all goes back to what your mother taught you. What you learned when you were young.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with business too. Go back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
All this other stuff doesn't really matter. But I'm one person.
Right.
I can only talk so much,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the
Now
funny
you
part
need
is
the broadcast.
last year, before Election Day, Mr. Bruce Blakeman came on my show,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave him credit because he saw what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I really got that job in the county a while ago was because what I was doing. And I give him credit. Ed Mangano was a good man. He worried about the woman. He worried about us that we were not out there. So do I have anything bad to say? No. Only positivity. Because he took me in. And he said, do this for the county. And then everything changed. So am I uglily pissed? No, I'm not pissed. I'm happy because I'm still doing it, only it's not easy. When you're 72 and you're by yourself, but I'm doing it. And I love what I do. And now that we publish books with Red Penguin, I work with her. And everyone that's in my story wrote a book. They all wrote books.
Wow.
So what does that tell you? Anything is possible.
Right. Right. Where did you get that mindset that anything can be possible? Like, how did you get?
Well,
your
when I was
confidence?
in corporate, I used to hire a lot of people like me.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, to do talks. And we paid them like $2,500,
Right.
you know, for a talk.
Right.
And then we bought their books.
Right.
So it was always in my head.
Ah.
But, you know, yeah, I'd like to get one of those corporate accounts.
Uh-huh.
But nowadays it's not easy to get a corporate account. You need to know the CEO or the president.
Hmm.
But I did meet some really good ones. And like I said, Gary Melius from, you know, he's the greatest. And my dream was maybe I'd do this show at his place one day. But to tell you the truth, less is more for me now. At 72, what I'm doing now, I love it. I'm at Strong Island Television. If anybody wants to come see the show, they're a blast. 4 o'clock every Thursday. My website is valentinajanek.com, Long Island Breakfast Club Show.com. And Thursday, the big shot from Tulsa, the new show, is on the show. And everyone said, how did you get him to be on your show live? I said, I worked on it for 3 months
Very nice.
through
Very cool.
Facebook.
Excited?
And everyone says Facebook is a waste.
No.
Not if you have skills.
Right.
It's not a waste.
No. No. You can make
His
hundreds
name
of
is
thousands.
Scotia, S-C-O, you know him from Tulsa? Well, he works with Rocky. You know, he works with Sylvester Stallone. He's coming to my show Thursday.
Yeah. Congrats.
That's a big hit for me.
Right. Right.
It's just, that will hopefully increase the people that watch it. And everyone on my show, all 4, 5, 6 people, get shared to everyone's friends. So it goes universal.
What are a few things I know we're almost done, but I'm just wondering things you'd like to accomplish during this lifetime?
Well, I have a few things on my bucket list. One
Yeah,
is
yeah.
I want to smoke pot.
You haven't done that?
Why,
No.
you want to smoke pot now? We go out to the park like
No,
that?
but I am gonna. I have it on there because I have asthma and I can't smoke pot.
You can eat it.
No, but you know
Yeah,
what? It's
I
good
can
for
eat
you.
chocolate.
But it's actually, I had a heart doctor too, 45 years. It's good for you. It's good for your whole body.
I can't do it Monday, but I've been invited
Ah.
because I'm in the Sons and Daughters of Italy
Mm.
to be on the big float on Monday.
Okay.
That's when
Because
you
I've been
smoke
sick
one.
with COVID,
Ah.
I can't do it because you gotta climb all the way up to the top.
I see.
But I've been approved by the state,
That's
you know,
cool.
Italian big shot.
Get some 60 firemen to lift you up.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Another thing is see my grandchildren graduate and, you know, which they are. They're
Nice.
20 and and 19 in college, you know,
Whoa,
and
congrats,
just really less is more, be happy, live every day. I'd like to, you know, win a bundle of money, like a horse, but nothing, you know, I went from this to this, and I'm happier than I ever was. And life is short, and I tell everybody, put the boots on, ladies, and put the cowboy boots on, men. Right now, at this stage, with what's going on in this world, go out there and do something you've never done. Go roller skating, or go skinny dipping in public, whatever it is. Because you know what? Tomorrow, you don't know. I lost my husband at a young age. He didn't get to retire. They laid him off before his Social Security. And I didn't know about putting your house in trust. Anyone out there, if your house isn't in trust and your husband goes into a facility, you lost your house.
Wow.
I teach people how to do that.
You didn't know that, right?
No.
You were blindsided.
But again, what are you going to do?
Right.
Medicaid rules, all that?
Right.
You have to be dead poor to get anything. Or you could stay home and die.
Right.
And then you could have someone come in, and then you'll never get out of the mess anyway. And you have to renege that you're married to your husband in order to do that. So I have a lot of lawyers on that teach people as well what to do. Even if you're 40, your house should be in trust. Because tomorrow you could have a car accident and get crippled. So my show is funny because it goes from fun to serious.
Right.
We had a bird on a few weeks ago and almost destroyed the whole set because he was crazy, but it was funny. Everybody laughed their asses off.
That's fun.
And one time we had a guy who had diabetes who just fainted.
Oh my God.
And he was like, you know, we have so many stories that are so funny that it's comedy, but it's serious as well. And today, if you can laugh at yourself, I say every day do this. Every day you should cry, you should laugh, and you should think. That's a good thing.
Every day cry?
Yes.
I've never heard anyone say that. That's a new one.
Well, when I was out of work, I was that's old that time.
Right.
I'm in the car and I see all these people going to work in their cars with their, you know, singing. I'm like, I'd be like, shit, I bet he's going to work.
Right.
But see, you have to be like, just get over it.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So I'm still a career woman, but in my own little world. And I'm pretty, you know, proud of it because anything is possible. Look at me, I'm 72, I'm in a film now, and I'm playing an Italian old mother, which I am.
My favorite character.
I mean, I don't feel I'm that old, but I'm doing all this, and you know, and I have a little bit of a disability, but I'm a pusher. You know, I still got my cane. Yeah.
Get rid of the disability. You still have room to have crazy health. People still win health
And
awards.
life is a gift every day. And the show, we have a blast. We even drink wine every day on the show, when we have the show. We drink wine and we eat. Everybody gets a loaf of bread. That's my insignia. A loaf of bread.
So what is it about food that brings people together?
It's that you like to eat. It's that it tastes good or it doesn't taste good. And you have camaraderie. Even when we had the Breakfast Club, we used to eat. And everyone, when it was cheaper, we'd go to diners, we'd meet in a little hole somewhere and we'd bring our own. There's something about being together, all different types of people eating. We'd always have some kind of punch or wine because that makes you happy.
Right.
And we drink it in the morning. So, and we always refer back to the Breakfast Club movie. And my dream is to have this book in a movie, and I already know who I want to play the actors.
So which one of the Breakfast Club are you? Are you Molly Ringwald?
Me? No.
Ali Sheedy?
Yeah, I don't think, I don't know, because there wasn't really a strong woman. And, you know, I'm very strong, but I never was. When I was married years ago, before I went into corporate, I wore headbands, stretch pants, and flannel shirts. So I made a total turnaround. And I changed my name from Valentina when I was young to Tina. So growing up, I got sick of Valentina because no one talked to her. So when I was 50, I went back to Valentina.
Yeah, I like it.
And my husband said, "What is this?" I'm like, "That's it. I'm changing." Back when, you know, he was alive, and he said, "What is this?" You know, well, I don't want to be Valentina. I don't want to be Mrs. Valentina. I'm like, "Well, you're not, but..."
Mrs. Valentina.
Well, because when I started to get popular,
Right.
he was like, "What is this? What is this?"
Mrs. Valentina.
Yeah, and I could relate to people that are much higher than me, but I mean, just because of what happened to me. And I teach women, you know, get out there, do something outrageous, and you will be happy again.
Yeah, you have to push things past where you are in order to get out of where you are.
Right.
Unless you like where you are, then
Nobody likes where they are. How many people do you know that love their job right now?
The same three people that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 people. There's always 3
3 people?
That's the answer. Always 3 people.
Alright.
So we have about 4 minutes left. Do you have any final thoughts? You have a final question?
I kind of asked my final question. What would she do with the rest? You know, things she has to do. That's
Well,
kind of
the
what I
film
wanted
is
to know.
really what I would love to do someday. But now that I know how to do film, I could make a film about anything. I could make a film about your hat today.
1000%.
Because you can make a film for not a lot of money if you get a sponsor. A 20-minute
if you
film.
know how
A
to
film about
do
some
that.
idiot that's had a fight in the street, but it's funny. And you call it something special. And this is what I learned by being involved in the film festival.
So filmmaking.
Filmmaking,
Okay.
you know.
Storylines, this, that, yeah.
Final
She's very
thought.
funny in
So
film.
final thought for the show. What's your final thought?
My final thought. Write that book. Because a book changes your life. Because I never would be doing any of this if I didn't write that book. And if you think you can't, you can. Every day, write one piece of paper of something, stay on the topic, put it in your drawer. In 7 months, pull all the pieces of paper out, call me, and I'll get you in touch with the publisher who will help you make that book. This book was half the size when I met Stephanie Larkin, who is the queen of publishing. And now, this is big. And she helped me. Yeah, you pay a little stipend or whatever, but guess what? Writing a book, you just change so much about your life. It grows your business. You become an expert.
You know, my buddy's doing in Florida. He's a school teacher at high school, and he has a book. He's starting a book club. Everyone has to write a book because he has a couple little ones
Right,
like that he
even
put
kids,
through.
tell your
But he's
kids to
like
write it,
everything,
yes.
and he's like, they what's the name of the next book? He's like, everybody
Right.
writes little books like yours.
The
yeah.
word author next to your name changes everything.
That's true.
And it's it for me. ValentinaJanek.com. Check out my website.
Yeah.
Check out my show on YouTube, Long Island Breakfast Club Show. I'm up to 332 shows. And I'm proud of it.
No, this was a good reminder. I thought actually one of my rare thoughts today was maybe I should spend some time re-editing my health guide book. Like
Well,
this
you can do
winter.
that too. Like I
Here
could
you
change
are.
this book tomorrow
Right.
with a new cover with my
Right.
publisher and just change it. But I'm never changing it because this changed my life. Final thought.
So my final thought is this. Thank you for being a guest on our show. Really
Thank you.
appreciate you. You were an amazing person to meet. I'm glad to meet you after all this time, and I hope we continue on our conversations. I know I'm going to be a guest on your show as
Yes,
well.
in 2 weeks.
So I'm
yes.
looking forward for that. So that about does it for this week on The Came From Radio. If you missed any part of the show,
That's it. Tough.
go to
And
our website.
From Fire to Freedom can be purchased at Barnes & Noble.
Barnes & Noble, make sure you guys check that out. If you missed any part of our show, go to our website, www.itcamefromradio.com. Our next live show at the East Meadow Public Library will be on Wednesday, November 13th. We're going to have Playmaker Shadow Rabbit there. We will have tickets to another convention to give away, and he'll be giving away probably a little clay figure as well. So that is it, and we will see you all next time.